Hey, Senator, welcome to Magnolia Clubhouse.
Thank you.
Now that you've toured the clubhouse, what do you take away from the experience, and what would you want other people to know about Magnolia Clubhouse?
Because of this national movement and because of Magnolia Clubhouse playing a role in it, and Lori D'Angelo and others, we're seeing other communities around Ohio adopting this, and we're seeing more interest in Washington. And this is really the first president in a long time that has really wanted to focus on mental health. I mean, when you look at so many problems in our society, so often we send police, and police are doing their jobs, but they're not trained always to know what to do in mental health situations and mental health crises. And that's where Magnolia Clubhouse can come in, and that's where other Magnolia Clubhouse juniors, if you will, around Ohio and around the country can do.
Cleveland is working to implement an unarmed mental health response to people experiencing crisis. And, what do you see as the impact of this new type of response? A mental health response, a care response to people in crisis. What impact might that have on, those folks experiencing it or their loved ones?
Well, it's important that people here tell their story. And I just heard from Dawn Marie Randolph, who talked to us about, because she was involved in a crisis situation, she may have saved a young man's life because she was able to understand that this wasn't a police response, this should be a mental health response. And I think that when people like her and others tell this story, Patrice Williams and others, it really does make a difference with saving people's lives and giving people the treatment they need.
Back to the clubhouse model here in Ohio, exciting times for us. We're seeing an expansion, 7 new recipients, funding to open up new clubhouses. And a lot of this expansion and sustainability for all of us is due to access to Medicaid funding, right? So, our whole country, though, not just Ohio, is experiencing these needs and these crises in mental health. Would you see a benefit in states across the country expanding access to clubhouses for people seeking mental health support?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've been talking about that the whole interview, really,
right,
of the advantages of this, and even here in Cleveland, as we know, Cleveland leads the state in a lot of things, both good and bad things. Frankly, I'm a resident of Cleveland. I know that it's maybe one of the poorest cities in the Midwest in the whole country. We know that. It's also done some really innovative things. The Magnolia Clubhouse has been here a long time. It made a real impact. And when we do things well in our city, in Cleveland or in Cuyahoga County, we want to export those ideas elsewhere. And we have a legislature that's really not done its job in terms of investing in inner cities, investing in mental health. They'd rather do tax cuts for rich people than spend money where it ought to be spent. But I'm hopeful that we can convince the governor and the legislature that and as we're trying to do in Washington with President Biden, we are investing more in mental health treatment. We're investing more in Medicaid. One of the, I think it was Lori D'Angelo pointed out, or maybe it was, I'm not sure who it was in our discussion today, that a year at Magnolia Clubhouse costs less than 2 weeks in a hospital. And we can see almost from this building, way up here on the third floor, we can see in this building, almost see two of the great hospitals in Ohio,
right,
Cleveland Clinic and UH, but they're very expensive. And we can do a lot of this less expensively than law enforcement, less expensively than hospital visits. And why would we not do that as a society is really the question.
What other approaches do you see as important to pursue amidst this mental health crisis? What can be done at the federal level? What else can be done?
Well, at the federal level, we need to step it up, and we have. With President Biden, a new president with a new majority in the Senate, Chairman Wyden from Oregon, has taken something they've done in Eugene, Oregon, a community much, much smaller than Cleveland, and made a real impact on dollar savings, but most importantly on saving lives and giving people suffering from severe mental illness a better, healthier life for their futures. And we passed the Cahoots Act. We included that. We're doing things in other ways. And he's the chairman, the Center from Oregon's chairman of my committee that I'm on working on mental health and healthcare issues generally. I will follow up my meeting today with you all and talk to him in more detail about how we can bring more of that to Ohio and how on the federal level we can expand it overall with Medicaid and mental health treatment generally. Nice to see you. Thanks. I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks.